Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of the Movie Knights Roundtable Live. It is me, Dalton Burdett, with the amazing Nick Iricchio. Nick, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing good, buddy.
Good. Glad to hear it, guys. We have a hell of a show for you. It's going to be very interesting. And by hell of a show, I just mean a lot of goddamn trailers. Tons going on. Netflix recently had their TUDUM event, which, by the way, I just am happy that they call it that. That brings joy to me. They had their TUDUM event, so we're going to go over some of the trailers that came out of that. We're also going to be talking about a trailer for a movie I've been curious about, cautiously optimistic about, that its trailer is now out, and we're also going to be diving into a news story that broke just a couple of hours ago that we didn't plan on doing, but when it broke, we were like, oh, this is interesting, we should probably talk about this. So, Nicholas, without further ado, let's dive in to our little trailer madness, shall we?
Let's do it.
Your amazing PowerPoint here.
You might want to refresh it too, just in case.
All right. The Black Phone 2 is the movie that I was cautiously optimistic about. Let's talk about The Black Phone 2. When I heard that the movie was announced, I was very I don't know. I love the first one. It was in my top 5 of movies the year that it came out for ranking the movies that year. I love that film. And as someone who constantly preaches embrace sequels, embrace reboots, because if it's bad, you can ignore it, and if not, you have another great thing. Even I fell victim to, I don't know if I need this. I don't know if I need this movie. I don't know if it's necessary. I was really worried on if Scott Derrickson was going to be directing it and everything. And then finally, the trailer came out. It is confirmed that Scott Derrickson is making it. And I am happy to report this trailer immediately just made me go, yep, fuck all the doubt that I had. I'm excited. I'm in. Let's do this. I'm ready for this fucking movie. Dude, they're Freddy Kruegering the grabber? Are you fucking kidding me? Oh my god. Absolutely. I'm in. As soon as I saw the vibe, the winter vibe, and what was going on, I was like, this is absolutely made for me. I'm going to be there opening night. And it's been a while since we've had a good tagline, Nicholas. Dead is just a word? Fuck yes, dude. That's what I'm talking about.
And it's not even the best tagline to come out of all these trailers that we're going to be talking about today.
Oh, we'll get there. But Nicholas, I have to throw it over to you.
Mm-hmm.
What was your kind of anticipation for the movie, and what did you think of the trailer?
My anticipation was high. I really loved the first one, very similar to you. And I had my fair share of hesitation on a sequel, and I'll say I still do have a little bit of hesitation on it. The vibe of the trailer and the film won me over, just from a story perspective. I didn't get a lot of story in the teaser. I felt like where we're going to be going with it, and I think that kind of deterred me a little bit of it. I will say, watching the grabber just slowly approach through the fog on ice skates with an axe, that immediately sold me on the movie, though. But again, dead is just a word. I'm very curious what they're going to be exploring here, because I feel like this one's going to be a more of a thinky black phone, if you will. I do think the grabber is dead, maybe some sort of demon now. We sort of see at the end him ripping the mask off in a certain way. So I'm curious to see where it's going to explore. I wouldn't say I'm not I'm not like, oh my god, yes, inject this into my veins. Kind of like how I am, honestly, with Megan 2.0. This one has a lot of work to win me over, and I felt like that one immediately did. I did not get that same with Black Phone, but what I will say is the kills and the violence and the scares look awesome as hell. Like the one in the phone booth that they show you,
Mm-hmm.
all aboard it, and they're just happy that they have Mason Thames. Is that his name?
Yep.
Under contract when that How to Train Your Dragon buzz hits. So
Mm-hmm.
I think this is going to be a big win. Comes out October 17th, 2025.
I believe
So we got a
yeah.
nice little spooky October movie. So I think it's going to do well because of that.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. And I'm excited for the movie. Obviously, you heard my whole spiel on it. What I'm curious about is I'm wondering, and this is just me theorizing. I know nothing about the what happens in the movie. I didn't see the sister character in the trailer. I could have just missed her, but I didn't see her.
Mhm.
And she has a connection to the dead that we see in the first film. Do you think the sister is the first victim of the movie?
Oh, like they open it up with that? That could
Yeah,
be interesting.
it
I feel
would. It
like
would make me very sad.
I feel like they're gonna maybe go because you saw the ghosts of the kids
Hmm.
and everything in that regard. So I feel like this is just the ghost of the grabber, essentially. I'd be curious.
Yeah,
I would be shocked if he's actually alive from the end of the first one.
he's clearly not alive.
It's
Like
very
I
some
think
like
I think it's
horror
it,
reincarnation, right?
no,
Yeah.
no. To me, it's literally Freddy Krueger. Like he's haunting their nightmares, and like he can go
Mm,
into the like because we even see he's choking the kid in the phone booth, and then it cuts to him in bed, and he's choking. And I
yeah.
think that the fact that he could talk to dead kids through the phone, and now the grabber can just torment the shit out of them, doing the same thing, I think
Yeah.
is excellent. And
How did
I really think it's just the grabber is now dead, but that doesn't stop him from killing you.
That's horrifying. Honestly, my biggest positive is just that Scott Derrickson's behind the camera
Yes,
again. I'm a big fan of
yes.
him
And C.
and
Robert,
his writing partner,
yep, yep. I was gonna say, and
C.
C.
Robert
Robert
Cargill.
Carhill is writing as well.
You know, I think they're great together. So I am excited. I am there. I just maybe the next trailer will be the one where I'm like, dude, you know what? Sign me up. I'm there because I love the first one though.
Oh, I
And the
love the
first
first
one
movie.
did. I just pulled up the numbers for it because I was curious on it.
It did well.
It did very well. It made almost about 163 million on an 18 budget, nine times its
Hmm.
production budget. So I do you think this one clears that?
Maybe. I think How to Train Your Dragon helps. It reminds me a little bit of the situation when Jenna Ortega did Scream 5, and she also did Scream 6, but in between came Wednesday. And then
Hmm.
Scream 6, now I'm not saying this was the only reason, but Scream 6 eventually became the highest grossing Scream movie. So the timing is very similar, where like he did Black Phone, but now he's doing How to Train Your Dragon. So you brought up a good point. Like how many new fans are just going to go watch his next thing? It's an interesting thing to think about.
I mean, also when your first horror movie does this well, I'd be shocked if the second one doesn't get close to it or
Yeah.
even surpass it.
And literally, Derrickson directing this is why I'm watching. Like, I still have never seen Sinister 2, simply because Derrickson didn't make it. Like, I had no interest
I get
unless he
that.
was making it. But guys, what do you think of the trailer for The Black Phone? Did you like it? Please give us your thoughts down in the comments below. As we move on to our next story, and starting with this next story, this is when we get into the actual TUDUM trailers and the trailers for the Netflix TUDUM event. There are a couple that we're not going to cover. We're not covering Squid Game Season 3 just because I have not watched Season 2 and I don't want to get spoiled by anything. And we're also not going to be covering Wednesday because Wednesday I just haven't watched. And so I'm not going to pretend I know what's going on with it. And we may or may not cover the Stranger Things trailer because it wasn't really a trailer. It was some footage with some dates. But we'll get into that here in a bit. But let's talk about one that's very exciting, and that is Wake Up Dead Man, a Knives Out mystery. This is obviously something we're both incredibly excited about. I love this teaser. I love how it's a different vibe from the last film, which was a different vibe from the previous film, and it's putting the characters in new situations, or our lead character, I should say. And I didn't need a trailer for the movie. I was gonna watch it. I was in immediately, but just seeing the vibe that the teaser's taking and seeing again just the stacked cast that we have going on. I love the shot of Josh O'Connor kind of like going towards the camera towards the end there. I'm stoked. I'm going to watch the hell out of this, and I'm going to be watching it in a theater. Thank you very much. Nicholas, what do you think of the trailer?
No, I absolutely loved it. It was more of just a date reveal, which we have December 12th. What is you mentioned seeing it in a theater? Is that just you holding out hope?
No, I think it's definitely getting some sort of theatrical. I just don't know how wide
Gotcha.
and for
Okay.
how long.
I didn't know if anything had changed on that report. No, I think it was great. I love that he's taken the Kenneth Branagh approach, where he's just making the third detective movie a bit of a horror movie.
Yep.
I think it's very funny. But I mean, I love this franchise. I love Daniel Craig in the role, so obviously I'm very excited. I think they have a great cast this time around. I mean, you got Mila Kunis, Jeremy Renner, Josh O'Connor, Andrew Scott. I saw peeking around there in the trailer, so that made me happy. So and Josh Brolin even as some sort of priest. So I mean, I'm there. I'm excited. I think Ryan Johnson's a great director with these movies, and I'm actively looking forward to it.
Me as well. Me as well. With that said, guys, let's move on to the next trailer. Now, let's talk about Happy Gilmore 2. That was a trailer that was released. I'm fucking stoked about this movie. I love the first Happy Gilmore. It might be my favorite Adam Sandler comedy. Now, the trailer does do a lot of greatest hits in the trailer of like previous jokes or like things that are going to be redone, which if they do it too much will get tiring. However, I like the concept of the movie a lot, the idea that they're playing with story-wise. I loved the opening joke when he just completely fucking misses.
Shit.
Yeah, it was so good. And obviously the celebrity cameos are going to be fun. And dude, the joke at the end when he sees Shooter McGavin in the graveyard and he just Shooter just fucking tackles him. I was like crying laughing. I can't wait. I
love
to see
the
this
one
movie.
with Chubbs' son.
Yes.
He's like, just hand him back over. I got some Gorilla Glue on me.
Yes.
No, it's a very exciting. I'm excited for it. I love Happy Gilmore as well. I share the same sentiment with you in that regard, and I think that I kind of got a little emotional watching the trailer. I won't lie. I thought the music cues did well, and I think it just looks like everyone there was having fun. Adam
Oh, yeah.
Sandler still loves doing it, and I think that's sort of the biggest sell for me is, we've seen a lot of Adam Sandler movies on these Netflix deals and everything that have been kind of like, he's getting that paycheck. Good for him. I want to see Adam Sandler around. But this one actually feels like something he's energized by, he's excited about.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the trailer just did a great job of expressing that sentiment. That one comes out in July. Hopefully, I could see all of these Netflix things in theaters, but I think that's going to be a big seller for the Netflix platform. I think that's going to probably be one of their biggest hit movies, if I had to guess, if it's good.
Mm-hmm.
Cameos are great. It was good to see that character again. I didn't realize I missed him as much as I did.
Oh, I knew how much I missed him. Yeah, but I can't wait for that. Before we move on to the next movie trailer, Nick, do you want to briefly, just really quick, do Stranger Things?
I actually did not watch the footage from that, so
Okay.
if you want to talk about it, I will give input on other things.
Yeah, no, so just briefly, they did a Stranger Things basically date reveal where they included some new footage, and most of the new footage centered around Will, actually, which was an interesting surprise. And I know they had mentioned that like Will was going to be more of the focus of the final season, but I thought as an actor, like they show a scene where he has to really bring it, and I thought like, oh wow, like I was really impressed by the performance of him. And all the kids look 30, which is just hilarious. But there's obviously going to be an actual trailer in a couple months that's going to get everybody hyped. But the strategy that they're doing is last time they split it into two parts, like the season, because for some reason they won't do week to week releases on their long form narrative shows. They realize that we can't just let Stranger Things hype disappear after one weekend, basically. So this time they're doing it in 3, except it's going to be, I think, 4 episodes at the end of November, 3 episodes on Christmas, and then the final episode on its own New Year's Eve. Which, I understand spreading it out for the hype. I completely get it. I think you should do that. However, just do weekly at that point. Like, just do weekly releases at that point. I was just kind of annoyed by that. But yeah. Those are just my brief thoughts on the Stranger Things footage.
I'll give my thoughts. That's dumb.
Yeah, I think they should definitely just do weekly if you're going to do something like that. But let's move on to, Nick, a trailer I've probably watched 6 times now. Let's talk about Frankenstein, specifically Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein, which of course was part of the trailers of the TUDUM event, as we've been mentioning. It's everything you hoped the Guillermo del Toro Frankenstein movie would look like. Like, as soon as, like, you get the wide shot of the set, you have Oscar Isaac being a little freak. I was like, oh, man, I'm so in. I'm so in for this. And you didn't get really a full reveal look of the monster that's going to be played by Jacob Elordi, but you did get a scene with him where you see how strong he is in his presence. And man, oh, man, I'm in. I'm so in. Oh, my God. We joked earlier about a theatrical release for Wake Up Dead Man, Please, for the fucking love of God, let me watch this
This-
movie in theaters. Please, please, please let me see it on the big screen.
It would be a crime,
It would be
honestly.
a crime. It would be a crime. What were your thoughts on the Frankenstein trailer?
No, I mean it won me over immediately. I think I spoke to you briefly. One of my hesitations was just that Netflix was the one behind it, but in Guillermo del Toro we trust, and he would make it look good and work with the budget that he was given, which looks massive. And I think that it's I mean the sets, I think it's going to be probably most likely, if I had to guess, an easy awards contender. That one's coming out
Mm.
around December, I think, is when that one's
Yeah,
dropping.
it was November or December, something like
November,
that.
sorry.
Yeah.
December's Knives Out. But I
Mhm.
mean, we're just eating good those last few months. Oscar Isaac's great. Honestly, I think my biggest hesitation right now, and we have to see the performance, see how it goes. But it's just Jacob Elordi is the monster. I'm still a little. I don't know how to feel about it, and I don't think that's a negative or a positive. I just am curious, I guess would be the
Mhm.
better word. Because you have Oscar Isaac and you have Mia Goth, and you hear those words in Frankenstein, and you're like, yes, absolutely. I get it. I see the vision. Jacob Elordi as the monster, I don't see the vision yet. And maybe that'll change when the release comes out or what the storyline that they're actually
Mhm.
doing with. But I mean, the sets, the scale, the cinematography, the direction, even just on that trailer, you can tell it's incredible. It's Guillermo del Toro. And going back to an earlier conversation we are talking about, it is the best tagline from all these trailers, and that is that only monsters play God. Hell yeah, I am there.
Absolutely. My thoughts on the Jacob Elordi casting. The only negative I have with it is I'm pretty sure it was originally Andrew Garfield, and I just would have been really fascinated to see Andrew Garfield play that role. But in terms of Jacob Elordi playing the role, I've never watched Euphoria, but I have seen him in a lot of performances. I've seen him just off the top of my head. I can think of, um, oh my God, the one with Barry Keoghan.
Saltburn.
Saltburn and Priscilla, where he played Elvis. And I think he has
Priscilla. That was him. Yeah.
yeah, I think he has a very strong, commanding presence on screen. He's also just an enormous guy. Like he's like
Yeah.
6'4", I think, and he just has this towering presence over people, and that excites me. And I think he'll do a good job. And I like that they're holding back his look because I think it's going to make it all the more cooler when we get it in either the final marketing push or just in the movie itself. I think it'll be really cool. Really cool. Before we move on to our news story, I got to pull up some stuff from Kyler, Calixer in the chat. He starts off by saying, no one, setting up a joke to, of course, have Will scream, run, which is part of the Stranger Things trailer. I know it's being memed on online, but from an out-of-context clip, I thought, like, I believed him. I believed he was scared. So that's all you really need. But yes.
I'm gonna have to watch this little teaser.
Oh yes, you'll have to. Let's move on now to our news story that dropped today, and it just dropped a couple hours ago, and I literally sent the link to Nick, and I was like, "Well, this is in the show." Luca Guadagnino, he is a director that has been on fire the past couple of years, and he constantly is signing up for new projects and going to be directing new projects to the point where sometimes you're like, well, some of these are going to get canceled or get delayed because there's so much happening, which is already the case with Sergeant Rock, which we've reported on, and that we don't know if it's canceled or delayed, but it was going to happen, and now it's not. But he wasted no time filling up that gap, Nicholas. Oh no. Because Luca Guadagnino is directing a movie involving the CEO of OpenAI. I think this is a very interesting thing that Luca Guadagnino is doing. It's mostly interesting because obviously AI currently in Hollywood itself is a very touchy subject. And, let me just start off by saying, let me cut to my close-up here. Fuck generative AI. Straight to hell. Okay, moving on. Let's pull up some details on the movie here. This comes from, let's see. It's going to be titled Artificial. It's produced by Amazon MGM, which is interesting. And it will star Andrew Garfield and Monica Barbaro, who are actually currently dating. Hello. And Yura Borisov is circling a role as well. I loved him in Anora. I'm glad to see him getting working with people. And the film will be recounting the tumultuous period at OpenAI in 2023 that saw CEO Sam Altman fired and rehired in a few days. So essentially, It's going to be diving into that story, which I'll be completely honest, is a story that I'm unfamiliar with. And for that reason, I'm not going to do more research because I want to watch the movie and learn the story. That's what I'm interested in. So, Nick, you hear this, you hear Luca Guadagnino, you hear the OpenAI aspect, you hear about this tumultuous period apparently that happened in 2023. What are your thoughts when you hear this?
I think it's exciting. I think Luca Guadagnino is a great director. I love Challengers. I was sad about the delay or cancellation of Sergeant Rock. I thought that would have been a very interesting project, especially with him attached to it. I did not watch Queer, but I know you had some mixed feelings on that one.
It
But I
wasn't
think
mixed, it was bad.
oh, it was just bad. Gotcha.
Well,
Um,
let me clarify. Sorry, I'm eating chips. The first 90 minutes, not 90 minutes, Jesus Christ, the first half is fantastic. Like, it's an incredible love story. You have these two characters that are incredibly complex and interesting. Loved every second of it. The second half is just something fucking entirely different that was not the route the movie should have gone. Now, I know it's based on a book, and yes, if I had read the book, maybe I would have been more prepared for it, but my lord, what a departure from the first half of the movie. Anyway, sorry to interrupt you. Go on.
no, you're good. We get Andrew Garfield coming back to a software movie. Following up on the Social Network there. And I think, I mean, if you're looking for three leads, I don't think you could do much better than Andrew Garfield, Monica Barbaro, and Yura Borisov. So, I mean, I think it's stuff to be excited about. I am curious because it's kind of rare that we get a movie that is topical still at the same time. Normally there's like a bit of a delay, like something with like the GameStop movie that was several years after this happened. So I think it's very ambitious and very intriguing that it is coming out at a time when people are still very hesitant about AI, very confused about its utilization, very nervous for the ramifications of it, and even just looking into politics, right? Just how the like bills are being passed in states and federal level, working around AI. Tom Cruise fought an AI in the last Mission Impossible movie, so I think it's very topical, and I think that's going to be very interesting to see how they do that, and if it's going to take is it going to be kind of just an objective view of just like, here's what happened, here's the story, or is it going to try to do it in a way that's like tonally taking a stance above that?
Yeah. I'm very curious about it. Again, I'm completely unfamiliar with the story of the CEO and what happened, and I'm going to kind of purposely stay away from it too, so that way the movie can just like blow me away when I watch it. I'm also curious about the approach it's going to take. And maybe it'll just dive into the complexities of AI because, you saying AI, something about AI in a blanket statement is kind of ill-informed because like the complexities of AI are like ridiculous. Like, I'm not going to say fuck AI entirely because there's AI that can be really helpful in like the medical field or, in other fields as well. I said fuck generative AI specifically because fuck generative AI. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. It sucks and it puts people out of jobs. And dude, I love these fucking people on social media, particularly like X and Twitter, where they'll post like a generative AI 4-minute clip and it's like, oh, Hollywood is done. Look at how incredible and unbelievable this is. And I watch it, and it's like the biggest piece of shit. it's not even remotely good. Like, people are talking like this, hello, and it's like, and like the audio is fucking horrible, and like people are growing hands and changing shirt colors, and items on desks are suddenly becoming different things, and it's like. Yeah. This is what you put out to say, watch out, Hollywood? Was this fucking piece of garbage? Like, no. No.
Stop it. Bad. Bad generative AI.
Yes, hate it. But guys, what do you think about Luca Guadagnino making a movie about the CEO of OpenAI? Is this something that interests you? Is this something that you think, isn't a good idea? Is a good idea? Please let us know in the comments as we move on to the box office.
The box office.
Now, I'm fucking upset. Because if I just would have flipped my fucking 4 and 5 answer, I would have got it right. By the way, Victoria Short commented on our last early week episode, her predictions. She was wrong, but, I still wanted to give a shout out for, boldly commenting your prediction. That's a very brave thing. I understand. And like us, we were all wrong. Here is the chart that we have. Why didn't I flip 4 and 5, Nicholas? Why didn't I do it? I'm so upset. Anyway, let's get to the actual numbers, shall we? This is where it gets interesting, as always. And here we go. Lilo & Stitch came in first place, making $61 million in its second weekend, dropping 58%, pretty average drop. Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning made $27.2 million, dropping 57% in its second week, again, another average drop. Karate Kid Legends opened to $20 million in its first weekend. Final Destination Bloodlines came in fourth, making $10.9 million in its third week, dropping 44%. And in its opening weekend, Bring Her Back came in fifth, finally knocking Sinners out of the top 5, although I think it belongs in the top 5 forever. But yes, Bring Her Back did make $7 million there. Let's dive into these a little bit more, shall we? Before we do that, is there anything about this that shocks you, Nicholas?
Honestly, yeah, I did not think that Lilo and Stitch was going to have an average drop. I thought it was going to hold pretty strong.
Oh, let's remind people. It had an average drop, but it's because in its second weekend, it still made $60 million. And
this is true.
If you look at its performance throughout the week, it made a lot of money. Hold on. We made a video recently predicting that this movie is probably going to make $1 billion, where I definitively said that it will. I want you to guess. Here, I'm going to take it off the screen. I want you to guess the worldwide total of Lilo and Stitch right now.
I'm going to go with...
In 2 weeks. It's been 2 weeks.
I'm going to go with 350.
350?
350.
618.
Holy crap.
That's crazy work. Crazy work from Lilo and Stitch. Made on a production budget of $100 million. It's already at 6.2 times the budget, baby. Crazy work from Disney. Congratulations to them. Mission Impossible.
Do you still think it'll reach the billion with the flurry of incoming summer blockbusters?
Yeah. I think so. It nearly doubled its worldwide total from last week. I don't think it'll double it again, but I think we'll be well over 700 by next weekend, and then it's only a matter of time.
Gotcha.
Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning has made $356 million worldwide. It's almost to that $400 million production budget. We'll see. We'll see how that does.
Sometimes that's all you could hope for.
Sometimes it be like that. It really do. Karate Kid Legends has made $47 million worldwide total. I don't have a budget listed. I imagine it was somewhere in the 40 to 60 range. This is a pure guess. I'm not basing this off of any information. So it probably has about a little bit more than double this to go to be profitable. That's just a complete guess. If I'm completely wrong about that later, I will own it. Final Destination Bloodlines has made $232 million worldwide, 113 of that being domestic. It is the highest grossing film in the franchise, and it's 4.6 over that $50 million budget. Hell yeah, Final Destination. Hell yeah, Mike DeLuca and Pam Abdi. Fuck yeah. I'm so excited for them.
They needed the win.
They dude, and here's the thing. All this bullshit was happening about them getting fired and shit, and then what happened? Minecraft, Sinners, Final Destination, Superman's coming out in July. It just don't stop.
And I'm glad to see Final Destination, kicking through, especially with like another horror movie coming out, around the same time too. So I think it's good that it held strong.
For sure. And what I think is going to help Lilo and Stitch as well is school's out for most places now. So there's nothing stopping them going Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Also, speaking of that, Calixer adds in the chat, Lilo and Stitch going gangbusters. Yes. Huge gangbusters. Let's get back in to get these final looks here. Bring Her Back has made $8 million worldwide. I don't have a production budget here, but I believe, and man, I could be completely making this up, Nicholas. I believe in Variety, it mentioned that the budget was $20 million. So it has a while to go if it wants to get profitability. It costs a lot more than that $4 million Bring Her Back did. But here's what I'll say. That movie is fucking amazing. I loved Bring Her Back. I highly, highly, highly recommend everyone go watch Bring Her Back. It was very good.
I'm very excited to check that out. I do want to catch it in theaters while it's still out there.
Yeah, let's see some other box office stuff here. Let's check out Sinners. Sinners is now at $350 million worldwide, 3.9 times that budget, and I believe it's now available for PVOD, so good for them. Thunderbolts, 370 worldwide, 2.1 times the budget. It is going to be a money loser, but I think going from Captain America to this, to where the few people who watched Thunderbolts universally loved it, I think Marvel will kind of take that as a win. But obviously they need fucking Fantastic Four to do well, and we're all hoping it does. Friendship has $12 million worldwide. Good for that. That has to be more than the budget. There's no way that thing was made for more than like 3. Let's see.
I don't know. Paul Rudd's expensive.
He's expensive, but he's also like he's like if it's A24, he's not going to be like pay my fucking fee, you know.
True.
At least that's the vibe I get from him. Maybe he's demanded triple his salary. I don't know. Lastly, we look at The Accountant 2. It just squeaked over $100 billion worldwide, 65 of it domestic. 1.3 times the 80 budget, though. That 80 was too high. That was the killer there. But I liked it.
I enjoyed it very much. I did enjoy it.
I really liked it, yeah.
It's hitting Prime, I think, this week, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so, yeah. And, hey, hopefully it'll explode on Prime again, like it exploded on streaming last time, and we'll get some more. I want The Accountant 3 really bad. Really, really bad. But yeah, Nicholas, let's do our predictions for next week. And we're in the summer now, so this is when it gets interesting.
So what do we got coming out this week?
Ballerina.
Oh.
Which, by the way, you can find my review for on the channel tomorrow.
Hey.
I would talk about my thoughts, but I can't due to embargo reasons.
So let's see. Lilo and Stitch came in first last week with 60. Let's call that a 50% drop at 30. Does Ballerina get to 30? Does that make it the biggest opening in Wick?
I don't know. I'd have to double check that, actually.
I can check. I'm going to let you go first.
Okay. So here's where it's difficult.
It made 70. John Wick opened to 73.
Which one?
John Wick 4.
Okay.
It did say that is the highest in the franchise.
Oh, and the Phoenician Scheme goes wide. Ooh. Oh, The Ritual comes out too with Dan Stevens. Okay. Man, we got
and Al Pacino, right? Is that the Dan Stevens Pacino movie?
I believe so, yeah. Okay. Okay. Oh, and Dangerous Animals. But I don't think it's making any money. Let's see.
Oh, what day are we going?
Oh, we're going to go. We are going to go watch it. You just wait. All right, so.
Double feature, Ballerina, Dangerous Animals.
All right, I think I got it.
All right, hit me with it.
I'm going to go Lilo and Stitch number 1.
Ooh.
Because I think it's going to make like 40 next weekend.
Okay.
Then I'll go Ballerina number 2. I would love to see Ballerina open number 1, by the way, but I think it's going to be number 2. Then we'll do Mission Impossible. Then we'll do Karate Kid. Do I think Phoenician Scheme will open over a 50% drop for Final Destination?
What's a 50% for Final?
5. I'm going to go Final Destination in 5th. I don't think it's going to crack the top 5. I'd love to be wrong about that. But those movies just don't do like the box office that they used to do.
What did Karate Kid make?
20.
I am going to go. I'm gonna go ballerina number one. I'll challenge you on that.
Hell yeah, brother.
I'll go ballerina number one. I'm gonna go Lilo and Stitch number two. Oop, I cannot type today. Then I'm gonna go Mission Impossible.
Okay.
Then I'll go Karate Kid. And then here's where I'm going. Asteroid City, I don't think made like any money, right?
Not that I can remember.
But on the flip side of it, I feel like Phoenician Scheme has been marketed better.
Fair. See, I'm not even. I don't even have Phoenician Scheme in my mind, really. Where I'm worried is we'll bring her back to a repeat 7. Because it's getting a really good word of mouth. And Final Destination, I think, has made a majority of its money already. And if it hits a repeat 7, or if it drops to like 6, it has like a 10%, 15% drop, then it makes more than Final Destination, but I'm not sure. I ended up going with Final Destination, but that's what's concerning me.
I'm gonna give Wes Anderson the benefit of the doubt.
And hey, I hope you're right. I wish 10 movies could be in the top 5, if we're being honest.
If only there was a top 10.
Oh, here we go. We got a prediction in the live chat. And if they're right, we'll call them out. Kylixer is going Lilo and Stitch number 1, Ballerina number 2, Mission Impossible number 3, Friendship number 4, Phoenician Scheme number 5. Oh, hold on. He said replace Friendship with Bring Her Back. I was about to say you lost at Friendship.
I'm going to write it down because I don't know how the live chat.
Yeah. Go ahead and write it down.
This Lilo and Stitch, Ballerina.
Mission Impossible, Bring Her Back, Phoenician Scheme.
All right. So he's kind of taking the blend of ours.
Yeah.
And our hesitation. He's playing the odds.
I like it.
I like it as well. I think it's good. I hope it looked like the opening weekend for Asteroid City was like under $1 million, but it grossed over 50.
Yeah.
So
but it also opened in like probably like 100 theaters.
That's what I'm kind of balancing my thoughts on right now. But I hope it does. I really enjoyed Phoenician Scheme, Yeah. So.
No, for sure.
I want to see it do money. I think Wes Anderson's at a place though where even if this one doesn't do as well, like he's still going to be making movies. You know what I mean? They're not Damien Chazelling him and tossing him in director jail.
And his movies tend to make money over time, like you said, where it eventually made 50. Like they tend to just stick around, and I think
like everyone's just catching it eventually.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I also just think summer is this is a weird release strategy, but. It is what it is.
Listen, I think I agree with you where I don't think it's going to be. You put Final Destination. I think if anything's going to be the 5th, I think we're both going to be wrong and it'll be Bring Her Back.
Yeah, maybe.
But we'll see what happens. Tune in on next Monday.
I would love Phoenician Scheme to open to like $70 million.
It's like that is the number 1 opening movie.
Yeah. Well, guys. That'll do it for today's show of the Movie Knights Roundtable Live. Thank you so much, as always, for joining us. Like we said, if you have a prediction for next week's box office, leave it in the live chat and on the early beginning of the week show next week. If you're right, we'll shout you out on the show. And don't forget to catch us this Friday where we'll be going live again, talking about the movie news stories that happen in between then. Hopefully there are some, and we don't just twiddle our thumbs for 40 minutes. But as always, guys, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.